Tomorrow could bring the final payment for parents who are getting help from the Biden administration's child tax credit program. The future of the benefit remains in limbo as Congress debates the Democrats' social and climate spending package. If passed by December 28th, the child tax credit would be extended by a year, and parents would not miss a payment. Democrats are hoping to pass the legislation without Republican support. In order to do so, they need West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin's vote. He's still not on board with it yet, saying he has concerns over provisions like the length of programs tied to the bill. Joining us with more on this is CBS News reporter Sarah Ewall-Wice. Hi, Sarah. Great to see you. So tell us more about who is relying on the CTC and why is it important to them that it gets extended?
Hi, Tanya. So the child tax credit was a key provision in the American Rescue Plan passed in March. And what it did is it expanded the child tax credit from $2,000 to $3,000, and then for children under 6 to $3,600. But it also broke that credit down into monthly payments. So families had been seeing monthly payments of either $250 per child for kids 6 to 17 and $300 for children under the age of 6 since July. And the final payment as a part of the American Rescue Plan, that goes out tomorrow. The thing is they need to extend this, and to do that, they need to pass the Build Back Better Act. So what happens if this is not extended, as that bill is held up right now in the Senate, is kids would not see these payments in January, depending on when that is passed. Lawmakers were told by the IRS it needs to pass by December 28th to go without interruptions. But we know that this benefit impacts 90% of children in the United States. Eligible families who receive this have been shown that this helps reduce childhood hunger across the country. Since it started going out in July, we've seen that it's been used for things like food, for childcare, for clothing, for back to school. And so lawmakers have been saying this is going exactly to what they wanted it to go to when it started, and they need it to continue. Something that also happened with the child tax credit when it was expanded this year is it made it so that it was fully refundable. So the people who were in the lowest income bracket, those who did not have to file taxes, were still eligible to get this payment. And so it's credited for helping reduce child poverty in the U.S. by 40%. And should it go away, those benefits would be reversed, and nearly 10 million children could go back into poverty. That includes predominantly children who are Black, Hispanic, and in rural areas. So this is something that lawmakers who support this have been really urging to be passed before there are any disruptions come January.
And the likelihood is that a lot of these parents don't realize it, because unless they're watching us right now or they're paying really close attention, they might not realize that those payments are attached to past legislation and that their next payment is attached to the president's Build Back Better plan, which, as we mentioned, remains in limbo on Capitol Hill. So let's dive into that a little bit, because Senator Manchin has said he's worried about the length of some of these programs. Can you elaborate on that? And does that mean that passage of the president's bill in the Senate is in real jeopardy?
Yeah, Tanya, I'm not going to make any predictions on how this is going to play out. What we do know is that Senator Chuck Schumer is still hoping for a vote in the Senate by Christmas. Right now, that seems like a bit of a long shot, but we'll see how that goes. With that said, you're right. Senator Manchin has talked about concerns about some of these specific provisions in the legislation. The child tax credit, for one thing, is expanded but it's only extended for 1 year in the Build Back Better Act. And so there's been questions about, well, what would this really cost if things like the child tax credit and other provisions, because there are several other things that are also not expanded for a full 10 years, are expanded. So right now there was an analysis done to show what that would cost in total should all programs be extended. And it showed it would add $3 trillion to the deficit. And so that is a price tag that is raising concerns among those like Senator Joe Manchin. Republicans have really seized on that number. But the White House has specifically said that is not the legislation, that is not what is included in the legislation, and that the president is committed to having pay-fors for anything that is put out there, which means if it were to be extended, he would want something to pay for it past the current legislation as it is written. But it does pose challenges with getting everybody on board, and Democrats need all 50 senators, as we said time and time again, to get this passed.
Right. And so since that's sort of complicated, Sarah, are there other options, simpler perhaps, being considered to either extend the child tax credit or create a similar program in the meantime?
You know, this is really tricky, and actually our own Ed O'Keefe asked the White House about this just yesterday, whether there was a plan to potentially put forward a standalone bill that just addresses the child tax credit. And the White House press secretary said that that was not what they were looking at this time. Keep in mind here, even if they do put a standalone bill together that just extends the child tax credit and does not focus on the entire Build Back Better legislation, this does still need to get all the senators on board to pass, and it needs that 60-vote threshold to move forward in terms of the process in the Senate. And we don't have 10 Republican senators, even just for the child tax credit, who would support that on its own. Separately, the idea of putting that forward but not having another piece of another component to pay for it would be a challenge. So that is not something that is being looked at this time. I will say there is support for other child tax credit like bills, and there is even support among Republicans. The thing is getting everyone on board at this stage in the game is not likely. And, you know, Republicans have really been pushing back on the Build Back Better Act altogether. So even if some of them like the idea of a child tax credit or some kind of provision and have even proposed their own pieces of legislation looking at payments for children, it's not likely to go anywhere at this stage, especially when the White House and many Democrats are still focused on the full Build Back Better Act.
Right. Okay. So, Sarah, parents clearly need to be prepared for the eventuality that CTC is not extended. So are there any additional things that parents need to know once December ends?
I think something to keep in mind here is this expanded child tax credit was cut down into 6 payments throughout this year. But the second half of that is still going to be a part of the child tax credit payment, or a part of the child tax credit when they're filing taxes. So it's important to keep in mind if they're filing taxes in January, February, March next year during the tax filing season, they will have that opportunity to receive the second part of that credit. And like I said, I wouldn't rule out this being expanded. There could be a disruption in January, so families who are depending on this and are looking at their budgets should start to think about what they can do should those payments specifically for January not go out, and how they will budget around those if they go out late as well. So that is something to keep in mind as we move forward on this.
All right, Sarah Ewall-Wice in Washington, thank you so much.